We're going to turn to the prosecution delivering closing arguments today in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs, arguing that Combs felt like his fame, his wealth, and his power put him above the law. Combs is accused of sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation for prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. I want to bring in NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Melas and Misty Marris, trial attorney and legal analyst. Both were in the courtroom in downtown Manhattan today. Chloe, the prosecution taking 5 hours for closing arguments. What did they say?
Yeah, that was more than I expected. I thought it was going to be about 4. I mean, they really hammered home each of the 5 counts that he's charged with a very laborious PowerPoint presentation. I mean, they just went point by point and really zeroed in on the racketeering, because that's the most serious charge. Misty and I were just talking about that before we came on. I mean, he faces life in prison if convicted on RICO alone. And they went through all of the predicate acts that they have to prove, and they only have to prove 2 of them. Kidnapping. They showed 3 different alleged instances. Bribery. Transporting drugs across state lines. And it really was this light bulb moment for me, I don't know about you, that like all they have to prove to jurors is that he had someone transport drugs 2 times, that's it, across state lines. And that right there is RICO.
Misty, 5 hours, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to have the jurors' attention. You were in there. You've done this. How do you rate how the prosecutors did?
Tom, I think they did a really good job, and I'll tell you what makes a great trial lawyer. It's distilling it down to layman's terms. You're not stuck in the legalese. You're taking the elements of each charge, which are very difficult to understand. You're applying the evidence that was seen throughout the trial to those elements and telling the juror, this is why you should find Combs guilty. Now, that coupled with the visuals that they used and really simplifying what the jury needs to look at. Remember what this case was. 7 weeks, 30+ witnesses, so many documents, financial records, text messages, emails, all of that. What does it all mean? And what prosecutors wanted to do is say, don't get distracted by all of this other stuff. Look at the elements and look at what really matters. And they focused in on that.
Chloe, you've been observing the jurors throughout this case. Were you watching them during closing arguments? Did they seem engaged?
Absolutely. So, I mean, when you're looking at those 12 jurors today and then the 5 remaining alternates, some are falling asleep. Right? Because,
falling asleep during closing arguments,
yes,
that can't be a good sign.
Yes, but then others are taking notes, right? And there are some people who are over the age of 60, others who are younger. It's a diverse jury pool. What is their attitude going to be towards consent? Are they going to believe that Jane and Cassie Ventura were forced into those freak-offs? And a big question for me is they named a lot of people as co-conspirators in this alleged criminal enterprise, but none of the co-conspirators were part of the trial. None of them testified, which I thought was a real head-scratcher.
Misty, we know the defense didn't call any witnesses. What do they have to do in closings tomorrow?
So in closings tomorrow, they have to hit some of those issues, just like Chloe said to me when you're talking about RICO. They have to look at what the charges require from prosecutors. There has to be a conspiracy. I would say, where are the co-conspirators? I only see one person at that defense table. Why weren't they charged? Why didn't prosecutors put them on the stand? You never heard from them. Insufficient. And then I would also speak to that criminal enterprise element and say, well, you're talking about the Combs enterprise. Per the prosecutors, well, that's just an individual person. It has to be something distinct from that. And with respect to the sex trafficking charges, you're going to see a lot of those text messages which tend to show consent. Remembering, this is an intent crime. Diddy has to have intended to coerce these women into the freak-offs through force, fraud, or coercion. And when you see the messages and they say, can't wait for the FO, what the defense is going to say is, well, you know what? Even if they in their heart of hearts didn't want to do it, he wouldn't have known.
Real quick, Misty, what do you think is going to happen here? Are you thinking there may be sort of a surprise verdict?
Well, I think the Mann Act, that's transportation to engage in prostitution, has been proved by leaps and bounds by prosecutors. Okay. But when it comes to the sex trafficking, Cassie Ventura's case a bit stronger than Jane's. And RICO, to me, still falls short.
Okay, guys, can't wait to talk to you as closings happen tomorrow for the defense. We thank you for being here.